Frik and Peter, two brothers with a zest for life, always found joy in the simplest of moments. Their bond was unbreakable, and their laughter was infectious. But one fateful day, they found themselves trapped in a nightmare, a situation they could never have imagined. Their travels, which were meant to be filled with adventure and discovery, took a dark turn in country name, landing them in a fight far bigger than themselves, a fight for their very freedom. Accused of crimes they vehemently deny, their case lays bare the fault lines of international politics and human rights. The accusations were not just baseless, they were a stark reflection of the geopolitical tensions that plague our world. This is not just their story, it's a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom in a world where power often trumps justice. The scales of justice seem to tip unfairly, overshadowed by the looming presence of power. The brothers, known for their adventurous spirits and kind hearts, had embarked on a journey filled with the promise of discovery. They had always been eager to explore new cultures and help those in need. Little did they know, a web of political intrigue awaited them, ready to ensnare their dreams and test the limits of their resilience. The mysterious figures they encountered were not just strangers, they were key players in a larger, more dangerous game. The world watches, holding its breath, as their fate hangs precariously in the balance. The global community's reaction has been one of shock and concern, as news coverage of this controversial international incident continues to unfold. Country name, a land renowned for its beauty, with its breathtaking landscapes and rich cultural heritage, became an unexpected cage for Frik and Peter, two individuals who never imagined their lives would take such a drastic turn. Their sudden arrest sent shockwaves across the globe, igniting a firestorm of protests and raising serious questions about the legitimacy of the charges and the transparency of the legal process. People from all walks of life began to scrutinize the situation, demanding justice and clarity. The brothers quickly became pawns in a high-stakes game of international chess, their freedom held hostage to political maneuvering and diplomatic tensions. The situation grew more complex as various nations weighed in, each with their own agendas. Accusations of mention the accusations briefly were swiftly levied against them, charges they and their legal team firmly refute. The legal team worked tirelessly, dissecting every piece of evidence and preparing a robust defense strategy to counter the allegations. The evidence, shrouded in ambiguity and inconsistencies, has done little to quell the growing chorus of international observers who see this case as politically motivated. Experts and human rights organizations have voiced their concerns, calling for a fair and transparent trial. As the world demands answers and justice, Frik and Peter languish in a foreign prison, their hopes for a fair trial fading with each passing day. The international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that upholds the principles of justice and human rights. The anguish of Frik and Peter's family is palpable, a stark reminder of the human toll exacted by political disputes. Their parents, tireless advocates for their son's release, navigate a labyrinth of legal hurdles and diplomatic dead ends. Every visit, every phone call, a painful reminder of the precious time stolen from them. Their story resonates far beyond their immediate circle, galvanizing support from human rights organizations and concerned citizens worldwide. Theirs is a fight for justice, for transparency, and for the fundamental right to a fair trial. Principles that are the bedrock of any civilized society. The world watches, waiting, hoping for the day when this family will be whole again. Frik and Peter's case is sadly not an isolated incident. Their story is just one of many that highlight a growing and alarming trend across the globe. It shines a light on a disturbing trend, the suppression of dissent and the erosion of civil liberties in an increasingly interconnected world. In many countries, voices of opposition are being stifled, and the basic rights of individuals are being trampled upon. Governments, driven by political agendas, resort to silencing critics, often under the guise of national security or public order. This tactic is not new, but its prevalence and the boldness with which it is being executed are deeply troubling. This erosion of fundamental freedoms is a cause for global concern. International bodies and human rights organizations are increasingly raising alarms about these violations, but the response has been slow and often ineffective. The right to free speech, the right to a fair trial, the right to disagree with those in power. These are not privileges, but essential pillars of a just and equitable society. When these rights are undermined, the very fabric of society is at risk. Frik and Peter's plight is a stark reminder that these rights can never be taken for granted. They must be vigilantly defended by people everywhere. It is a call to action for all of us to stand up, speak out, and protect the freedoms that are the cornerstone of our global community. The international community has not remained silent. Human rights organizations, foreign governments, and influential figures have joined the chorus demanding Frik and Peter's release. The pressure on country name is mounting, with calls for transparency, due process, and respect for international law. The United Nations, Amnesty International, and countless other organizations have documented the irregularities in the case, urging country name to uphold its international obligations. The spotlight of global scrutiny is shining brightly on this case, making it increasingly difficult for the authorities to operate in the shadows. The world is watching, and the demand for justice for Frik and Peter grows stronger with each passing day. Despite the immense challenges they face, Frik and Peter's family refuses to give up hope. Their unwavering belief in their son's innocence fuels their fight for justice. Their resilience is a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit has the power to endure and inspire. This is not a spectator sport. We cannot stand idly by while Frik and Peter's lives are held hostage by political machinations. We must raise our voices demanding their immediate release and a fair trial. Silence is not an option. It is tantamount to complicity. Contact your elected officials. Share their story on social media. Donate to organizations fighting for their release. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the growing wave of pressure on country name. Together, we can be the voice for the voiceless, demanding justice for Frik and Peter and holding those in power accountable. In an interconnected world, our individual actions have the power to create ripples of change. The fight for Frik and Peter's freedom is a testament to this truth. Every letter written, every social media post shared, every conversation started amplifies their plight and contributes to the global chorus demanding justice. This is a collective responsibility. We cannot allow apathy or indifference to triumph. The fate of Frik and Peter, and countless others like them, rests on our willingness to stand up for what is right, to speak truth to power, and to demand a world where justice is not a privilege, but a right afforded to all. We must hold on to the hope that one day, Frik and Peter will walk free, reunited with their families and loved ones. The injustice they have endured will not be forgotten, but serve as a potent reminder of the importance of vigilance in safeguarding fundamental freedoms for everyone, everywhere. Their story is a call to action, a reminder that we are all interconnected and that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let us work together to create a world where cases like theirs are relegated to the history books. A world where the principles of justice, fairness, and human dignity reign supreme.